There is a fundamental glitch in the human brain that contradicts everything you have been taught about kindness. We are told that to make someone like us, we must do favors for them, serve them, and help them. This advice is not only wrong, but it is also the fastest way to lose respect and breed contempt. Psychology proves that the more you do for someone, the less they value you, and the more they take you for granted. If you want to truly own someone's loyalty and make them obsessed with you, you must do the opposite. You must make them work for you. You must make them invest in you, and you must make them serve you. This is the psychological phenomenon known as the Benjamin Franklin effect, and it is the secret to hacking human affection. Today, we will dissect the cognitive dissonance that forces enemies to become friends simply because they did you a favor. We will analyze the history of how Franklin destroyed a rival legislator without fighting, using only a rare book. We will explore the IKEA effect and why we fall in love with things we suffer for, from furniture to toxic relationships. And finally, we will give you the blueprint on how to weaponize this effect to build influence, attraction, and power. You will learn why you must stop being the nice guy who gives and become the high-value target who receives. To understand this mechanism, we must travel back to Pennsylvania in the year 1736. Benjamin Franklin was a young politician, rising in power, but he faced a dangerous enemy in the legislature. There was a wealthy, influential man who despised Franklin and publicly opposed his policies at every turn. Franklin knew that fighting this man openly would be suicide, but ignoring him would destroy his career. Most men would have tried to buy the enemy's favor with flattery, gifts, or by doing him a political favor. Franklin was a strategist, so he did something counterintuitive. He asked his enemy for a favor. He knew this man had a rare and valuable book in his private library, a book that was the man's pride. Franklin wrote a polite note asking to borrow this specific book for a few days to study it. The enemy was flattered by the request because it validated his intellect and his superior taste in literature. He sent the book immediately, and Franklin kept it for a week before returning it with a note of deep gratitude. The next time they met in the legislature, something impossible happened. The enemy approached Franklin and spoke to him with warmth. They became lifelong friends, and Franklin later wrote, "He that has once done you a kindness will be more ready to do you another." Why did this happen? Why did asking for something create a bond, while giving something would have created suspicion? The answer lies in a psychological concept discovered by Leon Festinger in 1957 called cognitive dissonance. The human brain hates contradiction. It craves consistency between its actions and its beliefs. If you do a favor for someone you hate, your brain enters a state of high stress and confusion. Your brain thinks, "I dislike this person, yet I am helping them. This does not make sense. I am not a fool." To resolve this tension, your brain rewrites your reality. "I must actually like this person, otherwise I wouldn't have helped them." You rationalize your actions by changing your attitude, and suddenly the enemy becomes a friend to justify the investment. This is the dark secret of human nature. We do not love people for what they do for us. We love them for what we do for them. When you do everything for a partner or a friend, you are the one investing, and therefore, you are the one falling deeper in love. They are simply receiving, and humans naturally devalue anything that comes for free or without effort. This explains why nice guys finish last. They overinvest in women who have invested nothing in return. The nice guy buys the dinner, listens to the drama, drives her around, and fixes her problems, thinking he is earning points. In reality, he is creating a dynamic where he is the servant and she is the prize. Her brain registers him as low status because he is trying too hard to buy her approval with labor. Meanwhile, the bad boy asks her to drive him to the airport or makes her wait for his call. She complains, but she does it, and her brain rationalizes, "I am working for this, so he must be worth it." This is also known as the sunk cost fallacy in relationships, where we refuse to leave because we have paid too much. The more time, emotion, and money you sink into a person, the harder it is to walk away, even if they are toxic. Predators and manipulators understand this biological glitch perfectly and use it to trap their victims. They start with small requests, the foot in the door technique, to get you to make a micro-investment. Can you hold this for a second? Can you watch my drink? Can you lend me $5? These seem innocent, but every yes is a brick in the wall of compliance that they are building around you. Once you comply with a small request, your brain labels you as the kind of person who helps this individual. The next request will be bigger, and you will agree again to maintain consistency with your new self-image. This escalation of commitment is how cults recruit normal people and turn them into fanatics. They don't ask you to drink the poison on day one, they ask you to stay for dinner, then they ask for a small donation, then for your weekends, then for your family, and finally for your life. By the time the big request comes, you have invested so much of your identity that you cannot say no. Consider the IKEA effect, a cognitive bias where people value furniture they built themselves more than pre-assembled pieces. Because you suffered through the instructions and the physical labor, you attach emotional value to the object. You look at that crooked table and see a masterpiece because it contains your sweat and your time. The same logic applies to people. If you make someone build the relationship, they will value it infinitely more. If you make yourself a ready-made partner who is always available and perfect, you are convenient, not valuable. Value is a function of scarcity and the effort required to obtain it, not intrinsic goodness. So, how do you apply the Benjamin Franklin effect ethically to build influence and respect? First, stop being afraid to ask for help. Asking for help is a dominant signal that also builds rapport. When you ask an expert for advice, you are validating their status and intelligence, which makes them like you. Saying, "I need your opinion on this," is far more powerful than saying, "Let me tell you my opinion." Second, in negotiations or sales, get the other party to invest energy in the deal. If you do all the paperwork, all the driving, and all the research, they have no skin in the game. Make them send the document, make them come to your office, make them wait a few minutes. The more effort they put into the process, the less likely they are to walk away at the last minute. Third, in your personal life, stop trying to buy love with servitude and start requesting investment. If you are always the one planning the dates, stop and let them plan the next one. If you are always the one initiating the text, stop and wait for them to reach out to you. Allow them the space to miss you and the opportunity to do something for you. You must become comfortable with the tension of receiving, which is difficult for people with pleaser personalities. You worry that if you ask for something you will be a burden, but actually you are becoming a challenge. People want to feel useful. Giving them a task allows them to feel capable and generous. When you refuse to let anyone help you, you are arrogant. You are denying them the chance to feel good. However, you must calibrate this carefully. You cannot just demand things from strangers without context. The Franklin effect works best when there is already a connection or a reason for the interaction. It also requires gratitude. When they do the favor, you must reward them with validation just as Franklin did. The reward completes the loop. Request, investment, validation, dopamine, loyalty. Be wary of the vampire who uses this solely to drain you without ever reciprocating. The goal is a balance of trade, but one where you are not operating at a constant deficit. You must also learn to use this as a defense mechanism to spot when you are being played. If someone you barely know asks you for a small favor, pause and analyze the dynamic. Are they trying to build a connection, or are they testing your boundaries for future exploitation? If you feel a sudden urge to please someone who has treated you poorly, recognize the cognitive dissonance. Your brain is trying to trick you into liking them to justify the fact that you are tolerating their abuse. Break the loop by admitting the truth. I invested in the wrong person and I am cutting my losses. The ability to walk away from a bad investment is the hallmark of the apex mindset. Most people throw good money after bad, trying to save a sinking ship because they built the sails. Let the ship sink. Your time and your energy are the only true currency you have. Invest them wisely and ensure that those around you are investing theirs in you. The world does not respect the servant who begs to be useful. It respects the king who allows himself to be served. This is not about ego. It is about the fundamental laws of human psychology and value perception. Benjamin Franklin did not manipulate his enemy into friendship. He gave his enemy the opportunity to be virtuous. He transformed a relationship of hostility into one of mutual respect by shifting the power dynamic. He understood that to change a man's mind, you do not argue with him, you change his actions. Once his actions change, his mind will follow to keep the internal narrative consistent. You have the power to rewrite how people perceive you by controlling the flow of favors. Stop trying to win people over by being their doormat. Start allowing them to win you over by earning your attention and your gratitude. Create a vacuum that they must fill with their effort. When you master the Ben Franklin effect, you stop chasing and start attracting. You stop engaging in the exhausting labor of pleasing everyone and start building a circle of loyal allies. They will like you more because they helped you. They will value you because they invested in you. And they will stay with you because their own brain will convince them that you are worth it. Master the art of the request. Master the science of dissonance. And remember, power is not just what you have, it is what you can get others to give you.